Welcome to another Field of Glory 2 medieval multiplayer battle. This is a ranked paired match against, I believe, Stylo. I might be getting my matches mixed up, but this is the Sword Brethren 1155 list versus the, Sword Brethren 1204 list versus the Swedish 1155 list. In this matchup, due to the open ground, I have gone with a pretty healthy amount of knights. We got about 7 in total, as well as max light spear, sword cavalry, max mounted crossbows. Gone with a pretty high number of defensive spears, about only one short of the max that we can bring. Skipped on the Baltic levies just because the only rough that's really available to use is this position over here, which I don't necessarily plan on using, as the front line doesn't even really extend that far. So presumably he's going to be deploying within the same region as we are, and he also doesn't have any medium foot options, so he's probably not even going to be extending into this region here. It is arguable that I could throw some units in there just to kind of stop him from even like remotely contesting it, but I just don't see that being particularly useful here. That said, we have gone with a checkerboard type of formation. We're going to be throwing our spearmen in the front here to potentially soak. He's got a pretty healthy amount of lights and crossbows that he could bring. That would be pretty worrisome. The big units we're worried about here, of course, are his own knights and sergeants as well as his huscarls, but we are going to have a cavalry advantage basically regardless of how this shakes out. And the question is going to be, are we going to be able to actually get around and do something about that? As the issue with these crossbowmen is, while they are good at disrupting cavalry, we don't really have them as an option against heavy foot, which he's going to be primarily bringing. We're going to be relying a lot on our heavier knights and sergeants here to be doing that. Now, I have thought about dropping some of the defensive spears to get some of the heavier knights and sergeants, but I think I'm pretty happy with the number that I already have, and in case he does bring max knights, these crossbows are going to have a lot of value potentially. So that's my thought process on that. In terms of general deployment for this match, we are going to be throwing on 2 of our generals onto this section of foot and knights, 1 general on this smaller section, and 1 general for this flank section, as I don't anticipate needing to use generals on these units in particular. 1 general should suffice between the 2 of them, and we'll see how this does. Next turn. Alright, let's see what we got. We have a few units of knights in reserve. He does have some knights going to the right flank here. I think we're more than equipped to deal with that, and as a matter of fact, I'm feeling very confident about this early deployment here. This, you know, the nice thing is we've got these light archers here in the forest that we can leave like to wait in ambush. I'm gonna try to bait him out by a preliminary push with these cavalry, just to make him think like, oh man, he's going really aggressive on this flank, and I want to draw out these knights so that we can, you know, shoot them primarily. To that effect, we're going to move these defensive spears up. And I think 1 unit of the Sword Brethren should be adequate here. The nice thing is, if we can get these in contact with one of his, that would effectively lock that unit out, and we've got the quality advantage ever so slightly, which could potentially be useful. Sometimes you can still lose those, I've found, at least that's been my impression, but for the most part, you know, anytime you've got a POA advantage, it's always nice to be able to take care of, or take advantage of it like that. Happy to move these knights up. I think he's, based on the way he's set up with these crossbowmen, I think he's more thinking he's going to defend on this hill. We'll see if he does that or not. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So these mounted crossbows aren't doing much of anything against these offensive spear units or the huscarls. except for just being an annoyance. Whereas if he had brought more knights, these would be a more considerable threat. I mean, he did bring a pretty decent amount of them, you know, not to discount the fact that he did bring, I think it's 5 out of his, like, 6 possible knights. But yeah, feeling initially good about this position. We'll see if that's misplaced. He doesn't outnumber us by as much as, you know, I would have thought. And I'm liking that with his current positioning, we might be able to get our knights able to zone his Huskarls out. And that could be pretty good for us. Now, we do have some raw spearmen here on this flank. It's important to remember. It's harder to tell, for me anyway, which ones are raw, just based on, like, looking at them from the rear. You can tell with the other style, the ones with the long kite shields, more easily, just because the shield and the uniform color itself is different. Whereas with these raw spears, I think the only way to tell is just by the shields for the most part. Like, I think the Gambesons might look slightly different, but honestly, I think it's just the shields that are different on the raw spears. On this style, I don't know what style this is supposed to be. To be honest, I think the ones with the kite shields, like these spearmen, are like more of like a Nordic or Anglo type of shield, right? But you know, the units are functionally the same, so it doesn't matter that much. It's just a small thing. Sometimes I forget when I'm deploying my units that, like, oh hey, these are raw spears. To that effect, you know, it's actually going to be interesting here on this main line. What we might want to do, looking forward, is shift these knights into the center here, where they can just cycle charge these offensive spears. Zone out the Huskarls with the remaining knights, and just use the cavalry to threaten his flank so that he can't really advance. We'll see how that works out in practice, though. Next turn. He is content to sit in his current position, it would seem. Okay. When it comes to these crossbowmen and these Huskarls and spearmen and stuff like that, I mean, we don't have to engage him, is the thing, right? Like, we can just let him sit up there, but the question is, where else are we going to push to take advantage of that? And I think the answer to that question is a pretty simple one. I mean, if he's gonna let us get away with it, we're just gonna go ahead and position these units into some more defensible terrain. And I think this contingent of units is perfectly fine for the amount of resistance that's over here. I mean, let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 crossbowmen we can see. I think he gets another 2. Possibly, which are just right here in the front of the woods, and we'll just count on that being the case, even if it, you know, isn't necessarily true. But in the meantime, you know, I think something we can do here is definitely push into these offensive spears potentially. I don't think that would be too dangerous. He doesn't have any missile support if we, like, the further right we go. And especially, like, these 3 center spearmen, it's going to be pretty easy for us to do that, especially if he's not, like, moving his line at all. So I think we found our opening. We will go ahead and move these spearmen to the right here. I think in general we're going to shift the whole line to the right. Except, of course, these cavalry, which will remain to be for your rear charges, side charges, and that sort of thing. Now, I think we're happy to continue the checkerboard with these units here. Kind of a jagged advance, but not super worried about it. Again, with his crossbows being, like, in this position here, and him being unwilling to come down in any way, you know, that gives us the initiative, which can be potentially useful, so... But who knows, man? I might just be talking out of my ass. We'll see what actually happens when the lines join eventually. Next turn. Reveals a unit of knights on the flank here. I don't know how much that matters, considering we've got this swathe of lighter cavalry ready for him. Okay, we're gonna swing these light cavalry wide. Light spear sword cavalry, that is. And let's see. Well, we can get our crossbows moving as well. Keep these knights here centered a little bit, just so if there are any shenanigans, we're ready for him. If he moves his crossbowman here, we don't really have a good way to contest it immediately anyway. I think to that end, we're going to try to maneuver these crossbowmen a little bit closer there. In the meantime, again, since he has no miscellaneous to really stop us, we're going to start pushing our knights in here. A few spearmen for support. Looking good. Raw spears in reserve. Keep those units in reserve as well. Swing a little bit wider with the lighter cavalry. And speaking of contesting that rough, though, how about we get our lights out of the forest to say hello? Just in case, you know, he does go for this. Probably next turn we could shoot and potentially disrupt him, if not 2 turns out then. And most of our units should be pretty safe here. There's a possibility if he has 3 crossbows here, I mean, he can't triple shoot any of our knights, so we're still safe for this turn. Shouldn't get too overconfident, though. Let's go ahead and swing these spearmen here, so that they're a little bit more able to help when the melee begins. And then, yeah, looking good here in the center. We'll see if that lasts. Next turn. Yeah, he does push his entire line forward, as we kind of suspected that he would. Yeah, and again, he's probably content to just sit here on top of this hill. We are, of course, not going to indulge him in doing that. You know, we're not just going to give him, you know, the ability to shoot up our units for free. So, to that end, I say we move these knights to a more central position. Move these crossbowmen to a position where they're going to be able to support these raw spears by shooting at these knights. And just continue moving around to the flanks with these lighter cavalry. And then over here in this position, same thing, move the cavalry to the flanks, and start moving the lights and crossbows together, in hopes that we're going to be able to do some pretty significant damage to these knights up here. Something that would be kind of interesting that we could do is to set up a flank with these defensive spears onto these crossbows, or at least threaten one, so that we can get these knights into position. Kind of favorable to that idea. He can shoot 1, 2 is his full arc. So we'll move to there, no sweat, and then... yeah, he just has no particular way of disrupting any of these knights, so I think we're just going to move into charge range for next turn. Keeping the defensive spears in reserve, of course. Alright, and we'll see what he does next turn. Next turn. Okay, let's get in some shots on my knights there. Alright. Prep a flank there, move these defensive spears up. Move these defensive spears up. Move this cav up. Move these defensive spears. Line them up. Get these archers here, and we're just out of range, but next turn we can definitely trigger a check on at least one of these units. And between the spears and the actual knights here, if he tries to like push in for impact or anything like that, I mean it's just a doomed charge for him basically. So not ideal for him in that situation. I think the best thing to do here is to push after these light archers. Otherwise we're just going to continue to sit here and get shot, and we might be able to potentially do some good work here. I think I'd rather give the general to this unit, and we're gonna definitely get in and start charging this turn. So, on the other hand, if we don't charge, if we don't charge, we risk getting disrupted, but that leaves this unit of knights open to potentially shooting his Huskarls, which could definitely be of interest to us. Now that being said, let's go ahead and start doing some cycle charges. Oh! Instant frag, you love to see it. Okay, no other wins, but that frag is pretty good. Now, let's go ahead and move these spearmen here. Get these knights up to here. And then it's actually a lot safer for us to get these mounted crossbows up here than it would seem. His crossbows are too far away to provide supporting fire as we like harass this unit. And we'll leave the raw spears here to act as a speed bump. And I think that's perfectly fine. What's not... I just don't love this. I think we take the risk of a check here. Okay, it wasn't even a check, so... See, we could move here and then, like, turn. That's only 2 to 8 casualties. And the thing is, we kind of want these crossbowmen facing this way, and then, yeah, the idea is we're, like, covering the knights. And now his crossbows, even though they're in the rough, he has to make a choice about turning and shooting, and importantly, is no longer threatening these knights. And the next turn, what we can do is just move the crossbows out of the way, and then charge through. So, yeah, great start here. Got the defensive spears ready to cover on these Huskarls, and it's looking pretty good so far. Next turn. Here come the Huskarls. And there are the shots on the military order knights. They hold firm. Okay, he charges with the Huskarls. They lose, hold firm. We fall back. Okay, he's starting to ride around with his own knights. Kind of plugs the gap here, but the thing is, we can keep charging anyway, so we're gonna do that. Okay, they break. Everyone holds firm. It's just one of those days, I guess. Let's think about how we want to do this turn. I think, probably ideally, we zone out the Huskarls with the defensive spears. and then move here to get out of the range of his crossbows, at least temporarily. We are in a position to shoot these knights, so we're going to do that. Go ahead and zone him. Holds firm. I don't think he has any lights, because this Swedish list does not have a preponderance of those, and then these cav are probably going to be able to get around the flank here to start engaging some of these units. We'll keep these raw spears in reserve, because what's happening at the moment with this interaction is if he charges with any of these units of shot against these sword brethren, they're just going to bounce off, which he can then shoot again. In fact, he can actually shoot with these crossbows here, and they are in full arc, so they could potentially disrupt, but for the time being, you know, he's not in the best position. Now, elsewhere, we're going to go ahead and keep moving. And I think the objective here is, yeah, we're just going to start shooting. Only 2, that's a really bad roll. Probably don't want to shoot with the lights too closely. Go ahead and do some long range shooting. I think the preponderance of units here. Okay, they hold firm. Move the military order knights up. And again, he can't really charge because this unit of cavalry here is just making it so he'll just get auto dropped if he does that. Okay, so I'm gonna shoot these knights. They disrupt, which is awesome. And we'll go ahead and charge these offensive spears. Okay, get some wins, but no dice on actually getting them to break. Surely not. Getting some rather silly ideas on my part, I guess, of potentially, you know, pushing these crossbowmen. I think he does have me pretty good here. I think probably what we would need to do in order to push these, he's got a 34% chance to lose here on impact, which is pretty bad. But it would allow us to move past with these defensive spears, and these as well. Let's try it, let's see what happens. If we bounce, then no harm, no foul. Okay, and then we can turn, set up a flank. Go ahead and get these defensive spears up, and then hopefully these don't lose and then bounce. Now that they are actually stuck in, they're only at a 21% chance to lose, which is pretty good. The problem is if they do lose, there's a pretty good chance that they'll just bounce, at which point it's a lot harder to execute this maneuver. So yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. We have a 60% chance to win on these Huskarls, but the chance to actually disrupt I think is fairly low. So yeah, we're gonna move these raw spears, I think, back over to this side here. And apart from that, I think I'm content with where I am. I want to keep these raw spears kind of in reserve. You know, if he moves these Huskarls here, we want to be able to potentially flank if he charges one of these units, that sort of thing. And obviously these knights are going to just get completely trashed now that they're getting shot at by mounted crossbows. Even with a general, it's just not going to look great for them, I think. So, yeah, we'll see what he does next turn. Next turn. Okay, he does charge the defensive spears with the Huskarls. They hold firm, fall back. Shoots the knights. Ooh, nice disruption of those mounted crossbows. Shoots the defensive spears. Yeah, he realizes. That was funny. That was a funny undo. I think he, you know, realized at the end there, oh, this is not a good situation for me. Okay, first things first, let's get a flank here. Oh, nice break. Oh, beautiful disruption as well. Alright. Do some long-range shooting. Holds firm. Well, I'll tell you what I think of that. I think some significant casualties are in your future, sir. Who could charge in here, potentially? And relatively safely? If he tries to move around with the other knights, he's going to get stuck with these cav. So I think this is a good time to charge. Go ahead and get stuck in there. And then, because of the angle here, he has no charge on the knights this turn. So, and again, even if he moves to here, you know, we've got a flank on him. And he can't get to the raw spears this turn. So this is just like, this is like an ideal charge there, I think. Gives us an extra turn. Could be worth something. You never know. Alright, let's go for the frag on these knights. Oh, they hold. Okay. Not ideal. But it's fine. Go ahead and turn and face these units. Still weirdly got them contained. And we'll just happily shoot them. He disrupts. Okay, if he turns to cancel this flank... Let's see. We're gonna move into the woods here. This is a little bit... My reasoning here is a little bit complicated. So, if we move into these woods, if these knights charge into us, we are both severely disordered. And that would be a good thing, because these cav cost about half of what these knights did, and his general is on these knights as well. So... I'm favoring that situation. I like that a bit. Now, as far as the rest of what we want to do here, this gets a little bit complicated. I think we continue holding here. I think that's fine. I think this is maybe a safe charge, so we'll go ahead and try it. We bounce. Let's go ahead and try this charge as well. Okay, they do disrupt. Good. And then if he charges them with either of these spears, he's taking a huge penalty. If he walks forward on these, we just cycle charge him again. So we're feeling pretty safe about that, I would say. Let's put these raw spears a little bit closer, just to keep them in flank range. Let's give these Huskarls some shots. It is pretty dubious whether or not these crossbows would hold versus these Huskarls, since they are a superior heavy weapon. Even if we pop the general over, we're only up 100 POA. It would help our chances, but it wouldn't save us by any means. Probably, ideally, what we'd want to do is swing these mounted crossbows next turn. I wonder if he's going to notice to zone out these with the crossbows, or if he's just going to continue long-range shooting with them to keep them safe. It's an interesting question. I think we go ahead and we zone out these knights with our own. We do have the slight POA advantage due to being highly superior, and, you know, a whole 12 points. But hey, 12 is not 0. Okay, these raw spears are about to get crunched by these offensive ones. But these will probably hold for a reasonable amount of time, and this is not an insignificant amount of point differential on those. So, sadly, I don't think we can do anything to stop these knights from charging in. However, can we transfer the general? We could. I think we're going to do that. This will help our odds here of surviving that. Anything else I want to do? I don't think so. I think for the time being we're content. He's probably, it would be in his best interest to frag these mounted crossbows and chase them off, but that opens up the rest of his line to these other cav. So we'll see what he does in response. Okay, there's the evade. He does not catch. Okay, disrupts the crossbows, we fall back. Okay, goes for the shooting on these mounted crossbows, they hold. Okay, charges these defensive spears. They hold for now. Okay. Ooh, disrupts and gets the kill on our general. They hold firm after that though. Okay, and then we just bounce back. Yep. Okay, and there he goes. Goes for the impact with his Huskarls. Gets squished a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and chew up these knights. There's the disruption. Hard zone him out. Flank charge on these knights. We're gonna get absolutely squished here. Alright, we'll go and get the flank on these spears. Okay, let's go ahead and go for another frag. Go for the frag on these knights. They hold firm. I think we... probably what we want to do here... Let's see. We're going to charge into these knights here. Who, of course, hold. And then now we should be set up for a flank next turn on these knights. Okay, we hold for... we're gonna hold. Okay, we do hold for now. Probably won't last. Okay, and we are in charge range of some of these crossbowmen. We're gonna charge these crossbows in particular. Okay, they disrupt, that's perfect. So now, we can do that. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to move to here, give him the illusion that he can keep chasing us off while we go ravage the rest of his troops here. So now we're set up for a flank charge here. We'll go ahead and hard zone, potentially sacrificing these crossbows so that we can get a flank charge potentially on either these Huskarls or on these armored spears. These raw spears are probably going to lose without help. Very slowly, of course. Raw spears are great at delaying. Gonna get crushed by these Huskarls here. We hold firm and fall back. Okay, that's that's pretty good for us. Alright, let's go ahead and transfer our general here. Try to get a disruption on these armored offensive spears. Okay, they hold. And we'll go ahead and hold with these knights. He is pushing back our center somewhat, but it shouldn't be an issue as we do have all these knights here. So, looking good there. Feeling good about these knights here. And let's go ahead and crap a side charge on these lights in the woods. That could be potentially interesting. Hopefully these spears hold for another turn. They are only going to lose one of these melees, so hopefully they don't double drop or something. That would be less than ideal. Other than that though, I think this is a pretty solid position to be in, and now of course we have these knights ready to turn back around, cause some havoc. Next turn. Looks like the spears do rally. Okay, moves those knights back in. Okay, he does disrupt my defensive spears. Gets a check on these sword brethren. Okay, those spearmen do frag. They'll probably hold. those knights break. Oh, our spears break. Okay. Okay. Okay, and those spears break. Okay. Oh. Kind of a funny frag on those light archers there. Alright, so I believe if we shoot, yeah, these knights are still technically pursuing. So, yeah. These spears are actually winning. And what we're going to do is go ahead and park these light archers behind his knights so they can't escape. No escape for you, sir. You will be squished. I'm sorry. The squish gods have decreed that it is your time to squish. And then I don't think I don't think if we zone him here. Let's see what happens to these knights first. Let's just see what happens. Okay, they hold. It's unfortunate. So this is a bit cheeky. But we're gonna flank charge these knights, even though it's horrible for these defensive spears. Okay, they turn. This is super important, because now we can go ahead and get a flank charge in with these crossbows. Okay, they hold, and that's fine. These units are both going to suffer next turn, most likely, but we can go ahead and just completely get rid of these knights and sergeants next turn. So, alright, so that's good. That's the better part of the battle here. I think next, it's kind of tough what we do next, because got a couple of unfortunate things happening. Let's see what these crossbows do. Okay, the crossbows hold. Let's go ahead and charge these ones here. Okay. We lose impact, or we draw an impact rather. So less than ideal. I think shoot these Huskarls. And then I think it's actually better if we just go ahead with our flank charge here, because if we leave these mounted crossbows here to shoot, what's going to happen is he'll try to charge into them and then get a flank charge on these cav. That would be horrible, obviously. So I think we just go for the auto drop on these offensive spears here. We do hold firm, but we should be slowly winning that engagement. Now, this is where it gets a little bit trickier, obviously. Let's see. Yeah, this is less than ideal. He is ready with these offensive spears to go ahead and walk up to us, potentially. I'm going to go ahead and turn here. Move up to here, so these Huskarls are truly flanked. Do we charge these spears? I mean, they're pretty beat up. And this situation here is just really ugly. I think we gotta make something happen with these knights. Yeah, okay, let's figure that. Well, he does have a flank charge now, unfortunately. I probably should have just zoned him out there, so... yeah, that was a mistake. That's okay, though. Because we're doing pretty well in other parts of the fight, including going to be able to take out another unit of knights. Let's go ahead and turn here, get ready to start pushing this way. And let's see these horrible melees resolve. Oh look, they fragged! Alright. And then we go here and zone out the Huskarls. Just because, you know, Huskarls. Alright, well, it's ugly. Let's see what happens. Next turn. Okay, those crossbows disrupt. A little unfortunate, but hey, what can you do? The spears disrupt, surprisingly. Okay, there's that flank that I shouldn't have taken. Okay, the spear can break. Okay, our 2 units hold firm for now. Okay, we disrupt. Okay, Okay, those crossbows disrupt and fall back. Perhaps a flank. These knights. Ooh. Okay, those knights fall back. It's interesting. Don't know if it's going to matter, but... Okay, he does go for the flank charge on these knights. Isn't successful, though. Those knights hold firm for the turn. Okay, we hold firm there. Ooh, fragged his, off of the spears, those break. Oh, this could be a flank charge into those Huskarls. There we go. Disruption. They hold firm. Okay, oh man. Oh, this is so ugly. Okay. Oh man. Is there a way we could get another flank charge on these Huskarls this turn? Let's see. Okay, it looks like they hold. Let's do the riskier thing and try to break these crossbows early. Or do we want to be responsible and zone out these ones? I think we'll move here and bank on the cavalry not immediately breaking, and then we'll just get the 94% win here. They hold firm for now. Don't know if they can do that indefinitely though. Oh man, this is such a juicy charge, but we can't actually do it. Alright, well, let's... Oh, having some cat interference. I can hear my cat's messing with something. Hold on. Alright, looks like we're good. These raw spears hold for another turn. Oh my goodness, the suspense is killing me here. I guess we just set up a charge, yeah? Do that. If we zone him out, does that do anything? Not really. Alright. Unfortunately, I don't think we can actually do anything about... oh, these can't charge this turn anyway. Okay, it's fine. Alright, we'll go there. For starters. He didn't move to zone out our knights. Oh, this is going to be catastrophic for him. Oh no. Some serious mistakes. Yeah, this is just like a serious mistake here. So, left these Huskarls open for a flank. I guess he thought the knights would disrupt or instantly break or something. Obviously they didn't. So now these crossbows are just going to go ahead, get a flank charge in. Okay. And then these knights, I mean, if we charge here, he does flank charge us. But these spears are going to break so quickly. Yeah, there's the frag. Let's see if they break. Hold firm for now. So what we do is go ahead and charge these Huskarls. And they hold firm for now, but we're gonna set up another flank here. Let's see if these knights break. Okay, they break. Those light archers unbelievably hold steady. And oh my god, what a beautiful flank charge on these knights. These are screwed now. Even though these two units are just not really contributing much. Alright, that's okay. That's okay. Alright, gonna turn this unit around. Spearmen continue to kill these knights. Turn these cav around. They'll get a flank charge next turn. Okay, take the 17% on those Huskarls. Nope, no dice. That's okay. Full arc, shoot these Huskarls. Guess we probably could have zoned him out, but I think if we get flank charge with the Huskarls, these will just break off, so it's fine. Potential disaster here. Hoping they hold for one turn, as these knights are only disrupted after all. But this could go either way. This was a risky move I made, calculated risk, and we'll see if it ends up paying off for us. Alright, anything else I want to move this turn? Oh. Suppose we can get these crossbows in position to start doing something to these lights. And then maybe we shove these lights off. Yeah, because they'll run off there. Okay, we got these lights as well. Let's go ahead and get them set up. We're just going to try to get a flank charge type situation going here. wait, whoops. Those were blocking those knights in, that's right. Okay, whew, almost a disaster there. Okay, and that's it. All right. Next turn. Okay, he gets a rally on his knights. Goes for the flank on these knights. Doesn't, yeah. Chance wasn't too bad there. Alright, let's see how bad this is. Okay, they frag. Okay, those crossbowmen frag. And they run. Okay, raw spears frag, but they don't break. Okay, charges our knights. They hold firm. Okay, there's a break. The rest of the line holds firm for now. Those knights break as well, and I think that's actually game. Yep, there's a frag on those crossbows, and yep, there's game. Alright. Thought there would probably be another turn, but Alright, so pretty cool match here. A couple of thoughts in the end here, so just based on my recollection, because it's taken me a couple weeks to play this game. So, just was able to make really effective use of my knights because he stuck his crossbows over on this flank and then didn't have nearly as much shot on this one. It's, I think, really important in Medieval to recognize when that's going to happen, because knights are super interesting units in that they are incredibly destructive when they can continue to give their impacts, but if you can deny them that, they're incredibly, just a huge waste of points. Crossbows help make knights a waste of points. When a crossbowman shoots at a knight and the knight disrupts, that basically has almost nullified any usefulness that unit might have had, because these units exist to punch holes in lines primarily. And even this flank charge here, right? So he flank charges this knight instead of zoning it out, and that doesn't help because the unit it's fighting is about to break. So what's going to happen is this unit will resolve this melee, might lose at 27%, might not, bounce off, and then it'll just charge it again. So yeah, definitely, number one thing to learn, I think, with Medieval is all of the various interactions that knights have, as so many lists have them. Obviously, there are going to be some games where you don't have knights, horse archer lists in, Egypt or in the Middle East, for example, in the swords and scimitars type matches, but yeah, I think I was able to just control the situation by avoiding his crossbows and then delaying with a set of, spearmen. Raw spearmen getting just intense value again. There's actually a chance these raw spears could have broken these huskarls, and I mean, if you think about the value proposition of 2 raw spears defeating a unit of huskarls, it's actually kind of insane. We also, just a great example here of how one single extra unit of cav can just completely destroy a flank. I mean, he lost these 2 knights for basically I lost nothing to kill them, to rout them rather. In this situation too, he was just he was outnumbered and he didn't reinforce these units in any way. So, I had these knights in the center. Honestly, his spearmen did an admirable job of holding the line. They didn't just immediately collapse. Where I think he definitely faltered is his flanks were just not equal. He focused too much on, oh, there's rough ground, I should put my crossbows in it, instead of looking at the overall tactical situation, I think. So, good match overall, though. This was a really cool mirror to play. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.